What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Ajae 2K back with another episode of Full Time Out. Now, this episode is a little different. I'm going live today on YouTube. I'm probably going to start going live a lot more with different episodes, streaming all over the place. But for now, just going live on YouTube with a quick episode solely dedicated to the Eagles. This episode will not be an hour long. I have not been able to put forth a hour long episode in a couple weeks because of the holiday season. Your boy been back in the city visiting family. Just got a lot going on around the holiday season. But at the very least, I want to come on here for the people who really follow because of the Eagles. I want to come on here because there's a lot going on with Philadelphia right now. So I want to come on here and give my quick takes on everything that I see that's going right with the Eagles and that's going wrong with the Eagles. So I want to come here and give you the bad, the good, and everything in between when it comes to the 11-4 Philadelphia Eagles. I had to put that in the caption or in the title, because it's like some people forget we're 11-4. You know what I'm saying? It's like some people don't realize we're 11-4. So I had to come on here and just give people that reminder that we are an 11-4 ball club. It might not look like it at times, but that's what we are. Now, I want to get right into it because, again, today, I'm not going to hold y'all for long today. That's not my intention. Like I said, I'm also doing this live because I might not have time to edit and all that and get it out. So when this is done, it'll be up on YouTube and everything will be there for the people to watch. But this is my thing when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles right now. What is going on with the Eagles? I've been having a lot of conversations with some fellow Eagles fans, and I've been watching a lot of the media talk about Philadelphia, and I've been watching a lot of the players talk and their demeanor, their body language, all that in the third. There's some clear things to me. So let's go back, because the last time we spoke, I spoke about the last 4 games of the season, and Seattle was one of those games. So the last time you heard from me, it was before the Seattle game. I got to quickly talk about that, then talk about the Giants game and tell you what I see going forward. First and foremost, and this will kind of lead me right into what I believe is wrong with the Philadelphia Eagles and what is right with the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Seattle game, right? You're coming off a 2-game losing streak against the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, they had more rest, all this, that, and the third. We understand that it was hard for the team to get up, for a team like Seattle potentially, or they was just tired. We know Jalen Hurts was sick, all this, that, and the third. Yet and still, Seattle is a team you're supposed to beat, especially when Drew Lock is in the lineup. That's just the facts. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I included Seattle in this gauntlet that we was going through this season. But once I found out that Drew Lock was out there, I automatically counted it as a dub. Matter of fact, before Drew Lock even went out there, I thought that was going to be a dub for the Eagles. Turns out it wasn't. Things on the offensive side of the ball fell apart late in that football game. We wasn't able to move the ball downfield. We wasn't able to cash in on the red zone. We got turnovers by Jalen Hurts, trying to give Quez Watkins opportunities down the field. I don't know why we do that. I'm glad he didn't get much playing time against the Giants. But trying to give Quez Watkins a chance to get the ball downfield has not worked out for us in a couple years. That's just the brutal truth. We got to be real about that, right? So there's that as one of the issues. Another issue that we had is the play calling. At the end of the football game, on the defensive side of the ball, it's 17-13. The Philadelphia Eagles cannot at least get in field goal range and make this a touchdown game. So the defense has to come out there, and I applaud the defense for how it played for most of the game. The defense has to come out here and, ball out, basically, essentially. They got to come out here and make plays and stop Drew Lock, who is not a great quarterback, from driving down the field and getting the game-winning touchdown. And what do? They give up a 92 yards, a 92-yard drive for a touchdown. Well, on the last play of the drive, they're playing a single high safety, and Bradbury gets beat over the top. Bradbury was targeted on every crucial down of that drive, and every play that was made on Bradbury. Personally, I know the Philadelphia Eagles are not going to do this. I think you got to move Bradbury to the bench. I understand the pedigree. I understand the experience. I understand what he brings to the table and the contract that he just signed. I think you have to move Bradbury to the bench in favor of a guy like Keely Ringo, who was balling. I love what I see out of Ringo. I might even debate putting Ricks out there because Eli Ricks has a lot of the same skill set and a lot of the same size as a Bradbury has on the outside, right? But again, Bradbury on the defensive side of the ball kind of gave that game away ultimately, And on offense, we also gave the game away because the Eagles are known for getting the ball back and soaking that time away. Getting that ball, hey, we going on a 6-minute drive, an 8-minute drive to end this football game. And the Philadelphia Eagles wasn't able to do that. They put the defense back on the field and the defense didn't show up. And so that was one game I was hot about. Now, don't want to interrupt this stream in the middle of it, but I am at work at my other job. And so I do kind of have to interrupt here just for a hot second to make sure that everything is set up at my other job. So, excuse me, this is a little unprofessional, but it is what it is. Give me a second here. Give me Give me a hot second here, and I'll get right back to it. Make sure we're good. Okay. All right. So you move on to the Giants game. And in the Giants game, you could tell the team came out with an emphasis on we have to play clean football. We got to run the football. We got to move the football downfield. This is a team that we want to dominate. And what do we come out there and do? We take a 20-3 lead going into halftime. Yes, Jalen Hurts had to blunder at the end of the first half. It was what it was. We end up getting 3 points anyway. We come out of halftime. We got guys running into each other, fumbling the ball. Zacchaeus and Boston Scott, who's the giant killer, running into each other, causing a fumble. So you got that going on, right? You got Dallas Goedert coming out of a cut on an out route, slipping and falling, and it turning into a pick six. And that basically made the game what it was. Yes, the analysts and everybody else, national media, the haters are going to talk about, oh, you guys struggle with the Giants. The Eagles beat themselves. Literally, or didn't beat themselves. The Eagles made that a game themselves. They gave these boys 14 points at the end of the day. They gave them 14 points. That's how that game ended up becoming a game. Because of the fumble and because of the pick six that were both in control of the Philadelphia Eagles, but weird things happened. But that's kind of been the story with the Eagles all season. Weird things have been happening, right? Lo and behold, the Eagles got a much-needed win, and I think it's a win that's going to build some confidence going forward because you had to get out of that 3-game losing streak you was in, coming off the loss against Seattle, Dallas, and San Fran. But now we got Ajae Brown. He don't want to talk to the media. We got Devontae Smith after the Giants game. I'm not satisfied. We got Jalen Hurts. We ain't meet the standard, but I'll take the win. We got Nick Sirianni saying a lot of the same thing. Guys in the locker room are not happy with, what's being put out there on the field. The turnovers, the penalties, everything that's been ailing this team, continues to rear its ugly head at the wrong time. And the last thing you want to do is have these issues going into the playoffs, right? And so this is what I believe the real issue is with the Philadelphia Eagles. We know the defense is going to be what it is. Eagles fans, we all knew that once C.J. Gardner-Johnson was gone, you lost your 2 linebackers, you lost Hargrave, you lost Epps, you lost a lot of pieces on the defensive side of the ball. We all knew the defense would look a little different, and by God, it looks a little different, right? Offensively, that's what we counted on. We counted on Jalen Hurts to have another All-Pro MVP caliber season. We counted on Ajae Brown and Devontae Smith to go for 1K again, which they both just did. We counted on the run game to be the running game because the offensive line is the offensive line. What I think we've all overlooked is that the fact that we don't have Shane Steichen anymore. And this is the truth. Now, again, I'm going to preface this by saying your boy don't got no sources. This is just my take. I believe guys like Ajae Brown, Devontae Smith, maybe even Zacchaeus, Jalen Hurts, some of these guys within the offense are frustrated with the offense in general. I believe that the offense initially last year was flawed to begin with. But we had a guy in Shane Steichen who was an offensive wizard who was able to design plays and make things work the way they're supposed to work in order for it to be successful. He knew how defenses wanted to play the Philadelphia Eagles, so he knew how to keep defenses on their toes. He was adding little wrinkles here and there, making the offense look the best that it could, and by God, it looked amazing. It looked amazing because he was the one pulling the strings. It's Nick Sirianni's offense, but the guy pulling the strings was a mastermind, and it made the offense even light years better than what it really is. Now, you have a first-year offensive coordinator in Brian Johnson, who is not Shane Steichen. And you have an offense that's already flawed. And so he doesn't have the same wizardry as Shane Steichen. And that's the truth. He's not Shane, right? And so he's struggling with the offensive play calling. He's struggling to make that offense not look as ordinary as it actually is. That's the truth. So I put this on him, but I mainly put it on Nick Sirianni because Nick Sirianni is supposed to be the offensive guy. He's been the offensive guy for years. He's supposed to be the guy at this point, with Brian Johnson being the first year play caller. He's supposed to be the guy coming in, making all the adjustments and doing what needs to be done on a week-to-week basis so that teams don't know what's coming. But from the looks of it, the Philadelphia Eagles are playing out of shotgun feels like 95% of the time, right? They're throwing either a receiver screen, curl routes, 4 verticals, or a slant or post. That's what it's looking like every play, literally every play. Now, I don't know all the X's and O's, but if I could tell you that's how it's looking, I know 95% of defenses that you play see the same thing, if not 100%. It's just a matter of if you can stop it or not. The offense is, to an extent, predictable at this point. And I think that's why you see the frustration out of Ajae Brown, because he can't say that. You see the frustration out of Devontae Smith. Ajae Brown just came out with a quote not too long ago where he just flat out said it. I can do, I believe in my talents, and I'm paraphrasing. I believe in my talents. I know what I could do on the football field. All we could do is go out there and run routes, catch the ball, and make plays. That's all we can control. That sounds like a direct shot at the coaches to me. The coaches are not putting these guys in the best position to be successful. Shane Steichen did that last year. And you see it with the quarterback play as well. The turnovers are at an all-time high for Jalen Hurts because, again, the plays are predictable. A lot of batted passes this year. A lot of tip passes this year, turning into interceptions. A lot of running between the tackles this year, turning into fumbles, right? A lot of forced passes this year, turning into interceptions. So you see it affecting the quarterback as well, which ultimately you may not admit it, Jalen, but it affects your psyche to an extent because you've never been a high turnover guy. Now this year you got 17, 18 turnovers, right? So I think mainly the issue with the Eagles is the offense because we knew the defense was going to be what it was. The offense is the issue. If the offense shows up in Seattle, the Eagles win. You could make an argument if the offense shows up against Dallas, the Philadelphia Eagles win because that defense got you a scoop and score. But at the end of the day, the Philadelphia Eagles are 11-4 for a reason. They have the talent to compete with anybody. They have the skill set to compete with anybody, right? They just have to get more unpredictable on the offensive side of the ball, and more than anything, they have to lean on the run game. Some of your best players are along that offensive line. Lane Dickerson and Jordan Mailata, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson. You got to lean on those guys up front because that's the Philadelphia Eagles formula right there. Lead with the run, play action, pass. Read option, pass. Let Jalen use his legs some. Be unpredictable. But the Philadelphia Eagles are as predictable as they come these days. And when you look at the all 22s, when you look at the film, that's what you see. And I'm telling y'all, I believe that's the reason why these players are as frustrated as they are. I don't know if I assume this has been vocalized. There's no way it hasn't been vocalized. Everything has been heard by now. We also saw Christian McCaffrey on the Manning cast, you know what I'm saying? Out here talking and literally calling out the Eagles play before they run it. Like he's in the same facility. And it's crazy because according to Nick Sirianni and Jason Kelsey, that's the first time they've ran that play out of that formation. So that just goes to show these teams they not only know what you're getting ready to do, they're a step ahead of even the adjustments you're getting ready to make as well. That's a problem, bro. And so, like I said before, listen, I think that is the biggest issue with the Philadelphia Eagles. I assume these things have been addressed. I assume AJ has said something to his team and to the coach. I assume guys have stepped up and said, hey, we need to do this. We need to do that. It's up to Nick Sirianni as the head coach and Brian Johnson as the offensive play caller to add those adjustments and make things, put some dressing on it. You know what I'm saying? We all know it's salad, but put some dressing on it, make it tasty. Put some ranch on it. Maybe a little apple cider vinegar on it. I don't know. Do something to make it taste like maybe this ain't salad. This tastes like something else today. Got to make it unpredictable. The defense is what the defense is. The defensive line ain't getting pressure on the quarterback. I think that's the biggest issue with the defense right now. We lived off sacks last year. This year we're not living off sacks. So you relying on your secondary to create turnovers, and your defensive line ain't getting home. It ain't gonna happen at the same rate it happened last year. And that's the honest truth. That's the real truth. That's real rap. When your defensive line ain't getting home and knocking these quarterbacks to the ground, that's just kind of how it's gonna go. Quarterbacks got all day to throw the ball in the pocket, or they're getting rid of the ball fast. We don't have a secondary that's known for making big time tackles. Guys are breaking tackles and, yak on the Philadelphia Eagles. The defense is what it is, though. It's about the offense when it comes to Philly. So in order to get back on track and do what we looking to do this year, it's going to have to fall on that offense, which is why Ajae is acting the way he's acting, which is why Devontae is talking the way he's talking. And the reason why the team has looked the way they've looked. And that's the honest truth. These slow starts don't help. We saw a slow start against Kansas City. We saw a slow start against Buffalo. You won both games, but dang, it was ugly at first. You know what I mean? That don't help. This is on the offense. The offense has to step up, put up points. And I got news for you. Before I get to what I think the rest of the season holds, because I'm going to give my predictions for the rest of the season, I got news for you. If ain't no adjustments made to this offense, if there's no wrinkles or anything thrown into this offense, you're going home. That's the truth. Now, me being me, I want the division, win the division. I'll take that win, bro. First time it's happened in 20 years where it's been a back-to-back winner in the NFC or in the NFC East. And I understand that after you lose the Super Bowl, it's hard to go right back. It's hard to go right back to a Super Bowl. You the hunted, teams are looking to take you out, right? So you understand that, you get all that, right? At the same time, though, with the same token, like I said, the expectation is what the expectation is. You brought a lot of people back, or especially on offense, you pretty much brought everybody back except Sam Alu. So you're expecting to go back to the bowl if you're a Philadelphia Eagles player and a Philadelphia Eagles fan. And I'm telling y'all, if ain't no adjustments made, you might go far, but you ain't getting back to no Super Bowl. You ain't getting through a team like San Fran if there are no adjustments made and they know everything that's coming. They know everything that's coming. Now, I will say this. My predictions for the rest of the season, regular season, and I'll dip into playoffs just for a hot second. I do think you beat the Cardinals. I do think you beat the Giants. I do think you end the season with a 13-4 record. I do believe that happens. I do believe you walk into this playoffs with a win streak. I even believe you win these next two games a little bit more convincingly than you've won games earlier this season. And I'm not the type of person that's going to put a ton of stock into it either way, whether you win convincingly or whether you win or, non-convincingly, they say, because at the end of the day, you beat a team like the Chiefs. You beat a team like the Bills. You beat the Dallas Cowboys. You've beat some contenders this year. You beat the Dolphins. You've beat some contenders this year. So whether you beat some bad teams convincingly or not, really, you don't make much of a difference. It's just a confidence booster. It's just let's fix these little issues, these little miscues that we having right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it really boils down to. So I do think you win these next two games. I do think you win these next two games and you win the division. We got to see what happens from there. By losing the game against Seattle, which is why I'm still irate about it. By losing that game to Seattle, not only did you potentially cheat yourself out of a 1 seed, which you'd be in right now had you beat Seattle, because San Fran just lost. So not only did you cheat yourself out of a 1 seed, but even if you didn't get the 1 seed, say San Fran won, Dallas dropped 2 games. You'd have a 2-game lead on Dallas. All you would really need is one more dub. You could maybe take week 18 off and still have the 2nd seed in the bag, especially if Dallas messed around and beat the Lions this upcoming Saturday. You had an opportunity to give your team a much needed rest. You kind of needed to win out and you didn't. So you put yourself in a bad situation in the season because, like I said, even though we got guys coming back healthy, guys still look gassed to my eye, man. I still look tired, especially on defense. Offensively, not necessarily, but on defense, guys still look tired to me. So come playoff time, you will probably, in my estimation, if you're the 2nd seed, which I believe you ultimately will be, because I don't see San Fran losing any more games. I just don't. I think that's a pipe dream as an Eagles fan. If you really think they're going to lose another game, I personally don't see it. I think you end up with the 2nd seed in the NFC. And if you get the 2nd seed in the NFC, you will most likely see a team like Seattle again, which for a second time I'd be confident against, especially in Philadelphia. Or you'll see a team like Green Bay, Minnesota, one of these teams. I think you win that game. But after that, it's a toss-up. I would assume you'd see Detroit next and Philadelphia. I like the matchup. I don't trust Detroit's defense. The offense is be cooking, though. So the offense, again, is going to fall on Philly's offense, y'all. Because Detroit going to cook. So the Philadelphia offense has to match up and play well, but I do think they could play well. Now you get to an NFC Championship game where I ultimately believe the Eagles will still be, all things considered, coaching issues, defensive issues, issues all over the place, right? Play calling issues, right? Maybe a little chemistry issues. You could list whatever issues you want to list, like I just listed before, right? I still think you get to the NFC Championship game, but if you see them Niners, I don't know, man. That might be where the buck stops. If you have you could beat the Lions. I feel like the way the Lions have looked this season, even though they're getting hot now at the right time, you could potentially beat the Detroit Lions with your B game. I believe that. Same way you beat the Chiefs, same way you beat the Bills. I think you could beat the Lions with your B game. I think you could beat Seattle with your B game. But if there's any game to play a flawless game, it'll be that NFC Championship game. And as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, the only thing I'm hanging my hat on is you could only have so many bad games or so many games where you don't play your A-plus game. You got that much talent on your roster on both sides of the ball. There's only been so many times that can happen, right? So if it continues in the postseason, all you need is one A-plus game from everybody. Flawless. Not a bunch of penalties, not a bunch of turnovers. Jalen Hurts plays like the all-pro we know he is. You can beat San Fran in San Fran. But I don't know, man. With everything I just said, if I had to guess today, if I had to put my money on it, say, AJ, where you think the season ends for the Philadelphia Eagles? Do you think it ends in the first round? Do you think it ends in the divisional round? Do you think it ends in the NFC Championship game? Do you think it ends in the Super Bowl? Or do you think it ends in the Super Bowl with the Super Bowl ring? I tell you today, it probably ends in the NFC Championship game in a close game against San Fran. I don't think they smoke us again, but in a close game against San Fran, I think that's probably where it will probably come to an end for the Philadelphia Eagles. Shout out to my guy Tomo chiming in, second round exit. I don't see it. Personally, I don't see it. Now, the matchup, put it like this. Respect to Dallas, I do think we can beat Dallas in Philadelphia, but I would much rather see Detroit in Philadelphia. I'm confident the Philadelphia Eagles will win games in the playoffs as long as it's in Philadelphia. I'm confident in that. But if you got to go on the road somewhere, that's where it get dicey. That's where it get dicey for the Philadelphia Eagles, which is why get in the division, you know what I'm saying? And, getting that second seed so that Detroit also has to come to Philadelphia. That's important. That's important. So ultimately, we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. Like I said, we got a ton of issues, and I ain't going to be the one to skate over the issues. Again, the defense is what it is. When it comes to the pressure, when it comes to the secondary, the play calling is what it is. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to Nick Sirianni, and I put most of it is him. So I put most of it on him, and then a lot of it on Brian Johnson as well. I wish guys like AJ Brown would talk more to the media and just loosen up a bit. Same thing with Devontae. But hey, these guys want to get back to the Super Bowl, man. We set a certain standard last season, and they feel like they ain't reaching that standard. And they not crazy. They looking around the NFL. They seen the Cowboys have some convincing wins. Even though a lot of them came against teams that weren't that good, you still seen them have very convincing wins. You seen what the 49ers have done to team after team after team. On the flip side, you can also say, Dallas, they done lost 2 straight. San Fran just lost to the Ravens, so it's wide open. But deep down, they know we have to be better to beat both of those teams. You could say you got to be better to beat the Lions too. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, all in all, we'll see how things turn out. We'll see where things go. But like I said, I want to give y'all a quick episode. I think y'all beat the Lions. Hey, that's what I'm saying. If we match up with the Lions, I like it. I like it. If we match up with Detroit, especially in Philadelphia, and this is the thing about Detroit too, are we sure they're going to show up in the playoffs? Like, I don't have that trust in them yet. They got to show me that they can win a couple playoff games or at least one playoff game for me to be like, all right, they for real. You know what I'm saying? It's still Detroit until proven otherwise in my eyes. And it's still Jared Goff, even though he's been to a Super Bowl. It's still Jared Goff until proven otherwise, because we done seen some games against guys like teams like the Chicago Bears where it's like, yo, what is going on? So I can only imagine how he looks in Philly. Now, again, I'd rather play them than play Dallas because we know how Dak has looked in Philly, right? But I don't know. Jared Goff might be a little shook out there. Who knows? Who knows? So ultimately, we'll see. But if I had to put my hat on something, if I had to put my money on something and say this is where it ends for Philadelphia this year, NFC Championship to the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I hope I'm wrong. Maybe over these next couple of weeks, something changed. Maybe they drop another game. You know, both the 49ers and the Cowboys are kind of going through a little adversity. Cowboys 2-game losing streak. 49ers just lost. And, you know, Brock Purdy just got hurt. From my understanding, it's a stinger. Trent Williams also didn't finish the game. Who knows what's going on with that? I hear some type of groin issue. Groin issues are a little tricky. You know, at the same time, we seen Lane Johnson play on a torn groin for an entire postseason. So who knows what the extent of those injuries are? Obviously, we wish them perfect health. But if they're not healthy, they're going through a little adversity too to finish the season. And the Rams are a team that you cannot sleep on. And that goes for anybody in the NFC. That's one team I really don't want to see in the first round is the Rams. Much respect to that boy staff. He's serious. So, but that's all I got for y'all today, man. Like I said, not a long episode today. I'm at work. I couldn't give y'all the full hour today. But for the people who follow me because of the Philadelphia Eagles, I wanted to give y'all, you know what I'm saying, my take. Has been a couple weeks and a lot has gone on. I still believe in the squad, y'all. I do. But there's a lot to fix. There's a lot to look at. There's a lot to be discouraged by, but there's a good amount to be motivated by as well. So y'all stay tuned, man. But for now, your boy signing off. I'll catch y'all on the next episode of Full Time Out.